Welcome to the Elite Athlete Blueprint podcast, the podcast that will give you all of the tools that you need to make sure that you can learn from the absolute best wisdom available on the topic of elite performance and spend the next 10 years putting in the 10,000 hours of work you need to achieve elite athletic performance.
Short, sharp and sweet here, but this is the kind of defense we need to play when playing 3-on-3. And this, in my mind, as I talked about in the differences between 3-on-3 and 5-on-5 podcast, is the thing that separates elite best in the world 3-on-3 teams and the teams that aren't up there. Or that don't quite consistently perform. And it is 100% playing defense with balls to the wall intensity. It's playing harder than every other team. It's applying all of the sound defensive principles that we get taught, such as, not opening up your base and sliding well and, using your body first. But I guess in 3-on-3 you get the advantage of being able to hand check a little bit more. But, it really comes down to a couple of key factors when playing defense for 3-on-3. Firstly, how fit are you? I think this is the most important. If you're not fit enough to play one-on-one defense and get in front of the other guy consistently throughout the game, then you're going to struggle. Secondly, there's an element of how fast you are and how well you can contain. Some of the bigger guys, they do a great job of just being able to move their feet to a sort of base level, and then what they do is they're able to really just slide with the defender and use their hands to stop them getting around them. And if a lot of the bigger guys, like I'm thinking of a guy like Marco Savic. He doesn't look like he's particularly quick, and he's like 6'6", 198 centimeters, 100 kilos, but he still is able to contain guys really well, and he's still an elite defender. And so you watch a guy like him, and he shouldn't be able to defend some of the guys that he is, but he does. And so I think it's really important to keep in mind that defensively, you can do a great job simply by moving your feet, simply by having that defensive intensity and that fitness, and knowing what it is that you need to do to contain a guy. Because you've got 12 seconds to contain a defender, or to contain an offensive player. And really, a lot of that comes down to understanding, you stop one move, you counter the next move, and then from there, just get him to get the ball up. You're usually pretty good. You don't need to go for the steal. You don't need to go for the hero play. If you can just contain, chances are they're going to struggle to get a good shot up within that 12-second period, especially if you're sort of playing defense on them until they get outside of the 3-point line, or the 2-point line for 3-on-3. That sort of means that you're playing that defense on them, and they're not able to get it out. So it's probably taking them about 3-4 seconds to clear the ball, and then they've only got 8 seconds to get a shot up. And then if you're pressuring them, they're not going to really get a good look. So this is where, if the ball, they'll probably kick it along, so your job's done there. And then it's up to the guy who's defending the player who's got the catch from the other guy, and this is unless they've thrown it straight out to the 2-point line. The defender who's defending the player who gets the second catch, this is where you've probably got the hardest job. You got to contain, you got to stop them from shooting. This is one thing that happens all the time. Guys getting shot over. Keep that hand up, get right in their face, stop them from shooting. And this is where I fall down a lot. I don't get my hand up on that initial guy because I tend to be slower and give guys space, but you can't do that. You got to really get up on them and stop them from shooting. This is what the best players do, and then be able to slide with them and stop them being comfortable, stop them being able to get that shot up. Helps if you force them in one particular direction and just contain, get your body out of the way with them, and really just moving and sliding well. And this is where the fitness comes into it, because it's really hard to do that when you're not fit. So intense, stopping them from shooting and really just sliding with them. And then same thing if it's a third pass, making sure you got 12 seconds, so you just got to play this for that 12-second period, and they're not going to be able to get a good shot up. And it's what the best teams do. If you watch the recent sort of Olympic qualifiers, you'll see France did this to an amazing level. It was crazy how ridiculous they were playing defense. The France vs Philippines game was it was insane. The French guys were very quick, very athletic, and they were not giving the Filipinos anything. Joshua Munzoon is an absolute baller. He is a stud, can shoot the ball, amazing dribbler, and they made him look like garbage because they just played insane defense. someone's going to come along like James Harden and break the 3-on-3 game. I know it, but until that day happens, we're going to see defense being the thing that separates the top teams. And then the last element of 3-on-3 defense is boxing out and being physical as hell to get the rebound. It's a tough one at times because like boxing out can sometimes lead down in a 3-on-3 context. But I watched a game where it was New York Harlem versus Novi Sad. I can put a link to that game, but it was an insane effort of boxing out from New York Harlem, and they just destroyed Novi Sad. Novi Sad's the best team in the world, and they absolutely destroyed them because they were just out-muscled them. I mean, New York Harlem is studs. These guys are racehorses. These guys are a team from New York, and they're so strong, so athletic, and they just outboxed Novi Sad, destroyed them. And it was because they had this hustle on defense and they had this hustle on the box outs. And so if you can apply those three things and not be absolutely cooked by the end of 10 minutes, if you've got the fitness, if you've got the capacity that we work towards with the Sydney Supersonics, then you're going to be able to do those concepts and you're going to be a world-class elite defender. So those are the three things to kind of concentrate on with your 3-on-3 defense, which is, playing amazing containment for the first 4 seconds, making the guy give it up when he's dribbling it out. Secondly, making sure that you don't let him get a shot up and contain, make him give the ball up again. Thirdly, boxing out hard and ensuring that you never get beat or slipped by and having intensity just to play with insane defensive intensity. If you can do those, you will be well placed. Easier said than done, but that's what we're aiming for. That is how the Sonics play defense.